all stations. Welcome to the SOARA VHF UHF Tuesday evening net. The station is AE6H, Ray, and I will be net control this evening. For those of you who are expecting to hear Phil, sorry to disappoint, but he has a class tonight and could not make the net. This net is open to all licensed amateurs, whether or not they are members of SOARA. We do welcome guest check-ins at any time. We will have a check-in period followed by a discussion. And tonight, for information, the topic is what catastrophic or at least debilitating in terms of being able to operate malfunction did you have, either portable or even in your home station for that effect, that you were able to devise a workaround and were able to in some way cure or at least continue to be able to operate? And if so, what did you do to do that? So we've all had failures at one point in time, and this discussion will maybe teach us all how to, if not avoid them, at the very least recover quickly from them. Once again, this is the SOARA Tuesday evening, VHF UHF net, and open to all licensed amateurs, whether or not you're SOARA members. With that, we'll start with check-ins. Stations wishing to check in to the SOARA net, please come now, and I'll take you in groups of 5. So please check in now.
PNG6 with vehicle.
W6 EDT with an announcement. Alpha Juliet 6 Echo Echo, Kevin in Anaheim.
A 6 HIV. One.
The station attempting to check in again. We just got the last, I believe it was an I. If you're checking in through the 2-meter repeater, you're going to have to key down a little bit, let the repeaters catch up with each other, and then give your call again, please. Please come now.
DG6 DYY, John in Ransom, Michigan.
Okay, John, and you rounded out for our initial 5. So I have Mike, AI6WE. I have Dale, W6EDT, and announcement notice. AJ6EE, Kevin, and K6HIV, Canute, followed by KG6BYY, John. Any others?
Kilo November 6, Alpha Sierra Romeo.
Okay, we've added Kilo correction. Whiskey, I believe, Kilo Zulu Romeo and Whiskey 5, or Bob, I'll have to get the rest of your call. I should know it by now, but unfortunately I don't. And Kilo November 6, Alpha Sierra Romeo, and I believe that is Anthony. Bob, can you clarify your call for me, please?
5 Kilo Zulu Victor.
Okay, you're going to have to, you're quick keying there, and I get 5 Kilo Zulu Victor, so I need the first 1 or 2 prior to the 5.
November.
Okay, I got November. Is there another one after 5?
Kilo Zulu Victor. That's it.
Okay, so November 5, Kilo Zulu Victor, QSL. Bob, you may have some sort of issue, not sure what it is, may just be weak signal, motion, but you are clipped and breaking a little bit during your transmission, so maybe you can work on that. And Kilo November 6, Alpha Sierra Romeo, Anthony, is that correct?
Kilo November 6, Alpha Sierra Romeo is Dion.
My apologies, Dion. Thank you. Any other check-ins? Okay, well, that's a 7, and that's still early in the net. We may get a few more. And after all, this is the night after the general meeting, and a whole lot of folks talked themselves out last night amongst themselves and each other. So oftentimes the turnout is light right after our monthly meeting. With that, we'll start with Dale, W6EDT. Please go ahead with your announcement.
Well, thank you, Ray. Appreciate that. Thank you for running the net. Wanted to let everybody know I had a good presentation last night from WE4BY about polar modulation and its advantages, and a little bit about power amplifier design. It was a very good meeting. And the next announcement is Ray, K6NOV, is looking for articles for the propagator, and I'm his designated shill most of the net. So if you have an article for the propagator that you'd like published, please send it to him. He'd greatly appreciate it. I know the rest of us would like reading it. And just a reminder, field day is the last weekend in June, so the May meeting is going to be field day planning. So if you've got ideas, please plan to attend the May meeting. With that, back to Net W6.
Thanks, Dale. And yes, it was a good meeting last night, and we had a decent turnout. Glad to see everybody there. So now we'll start at the top of the list with Mike, AI6WE. Oh, and by the way, before I do that, let's start with the discussion topic again, and that is just review what kind of failures have you had when you're trying to operate portable or even in your home station that kept you off the air for some reason. Perhaps you were trying to work a contest, make a skid with some other ham or whatever, and suddenly you discovered that things were not working as advertised. So what adjustments did you make, and could you continue your operating after adjusting whatever you needed to do or correcting whatever you needed to correct? And do you have any tips for anybody so others can learn from your experience? With that, now we'll start with Mike, AI6WE. Go ahead.
Well, interesting subject there, Ray, and the only way I can say is just check your jumpers on your radios, because once in a while you get a bad one, and those are sometimes hard to trace out. But besides that, not much going on, and good evening to the net. From Alpha India 6 with Seattle.
That's a good tip, Mike. Yeah, check your wiring, connections, jumpers. If you got an outboard tuner, the catch lead between the radio and the tuner. Again, make sure your coax is tight on the various connectors on the radio, power cord, anything like that. Give things a wiggle test. And so that's a good tip, Mike, and thanks. And we'll go to Dale if you want to participate in the discussion. W6EDT. Is it 86H net control?
Yeah. So let's see. A couple of things that happened to me and has been challenging to recover from, but managed to do it. So I had a power cable just come loose on me, and one of the ends, basically the crimp connector fell off. So I'm trying to figure out how to get a new crimp connector put on there and things like that. Of course, no soldering iron or anything like that. But I did manage to find some fine gauge wire, and I wrapped the bending connector, wrapped the existing end of the wire that's pulled out and the pin, and then shoved the whole mess back in the connector, and that worked. It wasn't a permanent repair, but it wrapped like a kind of a spiral wound coil around the whole thing with a little bit of electrical tape, and it actually seemed to work. So that's at least one story. Back to Net, W6EDT.
Okay, Dale, and yeah, yours and Mike's are exactly the kind of thing we're looking at, to just little things that can help, as I said, keep you on the air, and especially if you want to make an event, a skid, or a contest, you want to participate, and you don't want to send your equipment into the shop for extensive repairs. So it's always good to check it out yourself first. And over to Kevin, AJ6EE.
Good evening, everybody. I would say I've got so many failures, but so many compared to successes, but I got a good setup now. I would say going with a standard power connection system like Anderson power poles has helped me a lot. It's made everything kind of universal, able to move things around. Even the way you connect them, get the polarity the same on every device with whatever the standard is, the red on the left and the black on the right. Something like that's helpful. And then I don't have to get into conversations about all my antenna frustrations being in an apartment. AJ60E.
Okay, Kevin, yeah, and thanks. And yeah, power poles are a great thing. I use them extensively. And people say, well, you've got a perfectly good connector on your radio. Just cut that off and throw it away. Absolutely not. One of the earlier things I do when I get a new power cable, whether it comes with a newer radio or I buy one as a replacement, I'll go up 6 or 8 inches from the radio end, from the battery end, And if it comes with some kind of a connector already, I'll put the Anderson Power Pole on it. And that way I have the Anderson and I have the original either stub or connectors, whatever they had. I've maintained my pretty standard anymore connector for VHF, UHF radios, and the fuses, everything are in the cable, but I can now use it multiple ways by just going up, say, 6 to 8 inches to a foot from the battery end, if you will, the feed end of the power cable, flipping that off, putting a pair of a set of Anderson, and I'm back in business and ready to go under a number of different circumstances. So, good idea. It's a good thing. So we'll go to K6 HIV, and I'm sure he has lots of tales over the canoe. K6 HIV, are you there?
Yeah, just barely right. K6 HIV from beautiful downtown Rancho Santa Margarita, and I'm in a restaurant picking up some food, so I'm just going to get you on the next go-round. K6 HIV back to net control.
Okay, great, and bon appetit. And thanks for checking in anyway. And we'll go to KG6BYY, John.
Control, and good evening on a rainy evening. For me, it has been making my own coax and the Steel 259, pulling out from the back between my rig and my tuner. I just started making my own coax not too long ago, and that seems to be, where the failure is, buying some cheap connectors, crimper, and learning, not doing the best job crimping. So I would say that's my story. Back to net control key, G6BYY, Kilo Golf 669.
BYY, John, thanks. And yeah, I'm kind of old school maybe, and a lot of times if I want what I consider a real reliable connection, I'll take my time, get the old solder, silver-plated BL259, and make sure that the braid is soldered well, tubeless holes in the sides, and also that the center end is well soldered to the center pin where it comes through, and again, not skimp on the heat. Now that requires you to buy a little better quality. Usually the silver-plated ones they have a higher temp tolerance center dielectric. Some of the inexpensive ones, you have enough heat to really do a good solder job, you'll soften the plastic they use in the center, and you'll have a voltage connector that way. But again, if I want something to be really durable, I solder, although I do have a number of crimps I have made, and it too takes some practice, and it's an art. So either way works well, but it's good to know how to fix those if you need to in the field as well. So thanks for that, John. And we'll go to N5 Kilo Zulu Victor, Paul. Well, we got any better now, but no, you broke a couple of times during that transmission. Not sure what the issue is.
I've got sweat stories, so I'll just let everybody else find it. Try to give you back to net.
Thanks, Bob. And maybe you can apply the emergency repair thing about topic tonight at fix your coax. But it sounds very much like what it could be. Anyway, this is 86H net control, and we'll go to KN6 ASR. Dion.
I don't have anything about repairing specific equipment, but I do have a story about operational usage. There was an outdoor activity where we had a command post set up on top of a mesa, and the subject of the activity was far below the edge of that mesa, and nobody's radios were working. But we did have some handsets that my partner had, and so we just put a person at the command post, person on the edge of the mesa, and another person, down in the action with the handset, and we were able to maintain the necessary communications. And thinking back on it, it might have been not just the difference in elevation, but also it was very moist with a lot of brushy vegetation at the time.
back to net.
Yeah, that brings up one of the points I was going to bring up next. Whatever it is you're trying to do, if possible, test ahead of time, which might mean, in your case, having somebody go out to be at the two locations to see if, in fact, things like that will work. That's not been the first time when the greatest plans of mice and men, as they say. Someone picked a location for a command post relative to an activity, and if it's a scheduled activity, you could certainly do go out and test it ahead of time. So they've gotten out there and found out that the command post or whatever was in the wrong location to work effectively. So always test things as much as possible ahead of time, especially if you're doing outdoor and portable ops. But it's also good to test your home station periodically as well. That's one of the functions of nets, by the way. They make a good test situation that you can use and see if your things are going well or not. So thanks for that one, Anthony. Okay, and I think that brings up a point, and this is based on what happened to me. Last week, I was out in the desert, down at the Blair Valley, actually, and I had a antenna mass failure, and that it just wouldn't stay up. It kept telescoping. Well, rather than try to fix it, I luckily had two more possible antenna setups. Now, unfortunately, the one that was failing was my best or better of the three, but nevertheless, it was kind of out of commission. So I was able to switch to an alternate antenna, which brings me to the old adage for MCOM, and that is 1 equals none, 2 equals 1. The value of having spares. So if you only have one, you very quickly could end up having none. Had that been my only antenna, I would have been down south of Julian and Borrego Springs with no ability to work POTUS. So anyway, 1 is none, 2 is 1. So always have, as much as possible, have spares of cables, antennas, if possible, radios. But sometimes don't have that luxury. But double everything. That we'll go back to the top with Mike, AI6WE.
Not much to say. That's why I always carry extra antennas during the cancel when I go camping. Just for emergency backup, because you never know what you'll need. And I always have a tub full of different adapters. Those are always important when they're out in the field. You never know what you need. That's it.
I would say that is an important one, Mike. In addition, we talked about 1 is none, 2 is 1. Spare things like antennas, jumper cables, coax, longer coax, get to your antenna, all that sort of thing. But in addition, yes, a good assortment of adapters for PL259s, barrel connectors are always great, and a number of other ones that are available. I have a small, I think it was a peanut butter jar, but I stuffed full of those and try to take it with me on every portable op field day. And of course, I have spares available here at the Home Shack as well. So that's a very good idea. Extra connector. And before we go any further, this is 86H, net control. This is the SOARA 2 meters, 440, 220, Tuesday evening net. Would anyone else like to check into the net? Well, nobody lurking, so we'll go back to the list. And W6EDG, go ahead.
Well, thanks, Ray. All good stories. I don't have much else to contribute right now. I'm actually trying to deal with a minor IT problem with our network or our website. So I'm going to say 73, and I'll be listening out, but I can't participate in any more rounds right now. So back to net, W6EDG. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome, Dale. 7-3 to you as well. Glad to hear you on tonight. Good luck with troubleshooting the website. Now we'll go to Kevin, AJ6EE.
Good evening again. AJ6EE. I wonder what Knut's having for dinner. Maybe we should get a report. I don't have any other ideas, but I'm sure enjoying all the ideas everybody's having. Thinking the extra antennas always, that's a good idea. I was kind of thinking about, well, what if we go hiking with a backpack or like with a small rig? Yeah, it'd probably be easy to keep a spare. Yeah, I guess it depends on the situation. If you're able to pile stuff in your vehicle, that's a good way to carry spare stuff. But yeah, sometimes it might come down to the situation. Thanks, everybody. AJ6EE, I'll be here for the 73 round.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. And yeah, a simple end-fed wire antenna. The antenna, a balance or unun, actually, whether depending on which configuration we use, 9-to-1 or 49-to-1. Maybe throw it out over trees if you have them, or bushes, or that can roll up pretty small, and you can roll the antenna wire around the balance and look for small ones. There are some pretty compact ones available these days, and a short coax feed, so that could be a pretty easy spare antenna. If you're doing VHF, UHF is always the vulnerable roll-up J-pole on a TV twin. So, yeah, a little creativity, we always come up with something. We'll go to K6HIV Canoe for a dinner report.
K6HIV still in beautiful downtown Rancho Santa Margarita, bringing home short rib pasta. Really great stuff. Make everybody jealous here. I really don't have anything to add to the topic tonight. I'm not on enough to have any breakouts. So I don't go anywhere. So I'm always, with the exception of like field day, but then I'm using somebody else's gear there. So it's one problem I haven't had. Everything works because I got so little. Actually, Ray, I'm enjoying listening to the net, though. Ray, I think it's a good subject. K6HIV back to net control.
Well, thanks, Canute. And yeah, luckily I've already had dinner, so I'm not hungry. If I were hungry, I would be rather envious of what you're having tonight. So, and you bring up a good point, really, and I'm going to restate it a little bit. Simplicity. You don't have much to go wrong. And sometimes we get too complicated, either in our home stations or in our portable setups or whatever we're trying to do. Simplicity, very likely, is often the best key and possibility to make sure everything keeps working. So I would say that's a good simplicity. And we'll go to KG6BYY, John. KG6BYY, are you still there, John? 5 Kilo Zulu Victor. Bob, did you manage to correct your issue?
This isn't 5 KGB, and I hope I did. I swapped handy talkies, and you guys are sounding much clearer to me, so I hope I'm sounding better.
You absolutely are. You're good copy now. And just a little popcorn, but for an HD, that's excellent. So go ahead.
Okay, the only thing I was going to share is in the past when I've tried to make my own coax cable, I was kind of messed up and not done it right. I didn't do the other kind like you were talking about earlier. I was just trying to do script it. And found out the other kind works much, much better. That's not the only real failure I've had. And with that, I'll give it back to net control, which is in 5 KGB.
Okay, Bob, but yes, thanks. And you know what? You were an excellent choice of excellent example of the idea of always have a spare. In your case, a spare radio. Okay, swapping HTs or radios made all the difference in the world in your signal. So the value of having a spare, 1 is none, 2 is 1. So as long as you have the second one, you're good. So with that, we'll go to KN6 ASR. Dion.
Well, I have nothing to add really, except that after this, I'm thinking about purchasing another radio, just keep in the car. I do have just about every kind of connection to be sure that I can charge the radio wherever I go, whether I'm in the car or at home. And also, it's been a while since I took a road trip, but I am reminded that when I do take a road trip, I will make a note of the
radio repeaters and their PL codes that I'll be connecting to along the way. So that's my final thought. I'll hang around for the 73 round and back to that.
Thanks, Anthony. And yeah, a spare handheld, so inexpensive these days. I mean, you can get one for under $30, a tri-band, and the nice thing about many of the newer ones, they're USB-C charged. So most cars have USB out ports, or if they don't, you're going to obviously get adapters for your cigarette lighter power ports, and you'll have the USB-A outlet and a USB-C, a USB-A to USB-C cable. You can charge your radio on the go, and again, they're so inexpensive that they're good to have a spare one in the car. And I was also going to bring up something here, going through there it is, my phone app here, and there's one called Repeater Book, and it will give you where repeaters are relative to your current location. It's very accurate. Shows that I have two repeaters 5.2 miles west to me, northwest of me, at K6 SOA in Laguna Beach, and actually four of those, the mileage is a little different, and I'm not sure why. They go from 5.2 to 5.8 miles, and also, so they 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 repeaters in Laguna Beach, and this is, and of course is W6KRW in San Clemente, K6DXD Mission Viejo, and these are actually, however, I don't think those are repeaters. Those are probably the addresses of the repeater owners. And of course, there's W6LY in Laguna Woods at 8.4 miles north of me. So a good app, Repeater Book app. I believe it's free, and I think it's good for both iOS and for having a senior moment here, but the other kind of PC-based cell phone. So it's a good app to have. It's with you, and no matter where you are, I found that I had 3 repeaters about 6 miles from me down in the Blair Valley, and they were all on Mount Laguna in San Diego. So I was able to bring up all 3 of them and participated in a couple of VHF USOs there. So just by opening up my Repeater Book app on my iPhone. So Android is the word I'm looking for. Okay, and I'd like to order some insights too, is the power of lift. If you're getting ready to go portable, have a plan and make a list of the things that you plan to need. And so after you've made your list, we talked about testing ahead. Assemble the items in your list and give them a test. So that's always a good thing to have. And of course, spares are very handy. Mike brought up at the beginning the wiggle test, and check all the jumpers and connections. Oftentimes you'll have a problem that you'll turn up quickly if you just start wiggling cables and connections. That's one of the first precepts of troubleshooting in automotive, anything electrical, automotive electrical, radio electrical, household electrical. Give things a wiggle test. We'll go over to Mike, AF6WE, and let's make this the 73 round. We've been at it for 35 minutes. So, AF6WE, Mike, go ahead.
All right, not a problem there, Ray. And I was going to say 73s, and everybody have a good night out there. And Mr. Echo, good to hear you out here on the radio. Alpha India 6 with Diego, back to net.
Thanks, Mike, and 7-3 to you, and Mr. Echo is up next, so AJ6EE, go ahead, Kevin.
All right, well, I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Duval. Who is that moving? What was that moving? Mr. Duval, I can't remember. Ray might know. Yeah, thanks for letting me join in. Always fun, trying to be more active here on this. I can't usually make it to the meetings on the Mondays when they happen, because that's usually a work night for me now. But someday maybe when I retire, right? Anyways, good to everybody on. Good suggestions. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Hope to see you next week. AJ6 Echo Echo.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin, and good to hear you on as well. Hope you can make it as often as possible. And we'll go to K6 HIV Canute, if he isn't busy stuffing his face.
Well, good night to everybody, and Ray, thank you again for the subject matter. We of course always miss Phil. You had a great night tonight, and we'll have to pass along our 73 to our 73. Well, I'll send 173 to each person on a thing that'll make a whole bunch of 73s. And I'll get out of here and we'll give everybody a good night. K6 HIV back to net control.
Well, thanks, Canute, and glad you have you on tonight, and 7-3 to you as well. KG6BYY, John, are you still with us? KG6BYY, 7-3 to John, and November 5 Kilo Zulu Victor, Bob.
This is KZB. Let me add my thanks for running the net. That thing was a very good subject also. I'd like to have had more stories, but I'm glad I don't. With that, I will take 73 and return it to net control. KZB.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. Glad you checked in tonight. Hopefully we ended up solving a little problem for you as well, and maybe you can figure out what's going on with that other radio after the net. And Anthony, correction, Dion. I don't know why I want to call you Anthony. I apologize. Dion, KN6 ASR.
Well, first of all, shout out to Canute in beautiful downtown Rancho Santa Margarita. There was a beautiful rainbow out to the east today, about an hour before sunset. Ray, thank you for running the net, and thank you so much for your comments and suggestions. It was a great net for me, not only to know my equipment works, but also to hear everybody on the net. So saying 7-3 to everyone, AN6 ASR back to net.
Okay, thanks, Dion, and good to hear you on as well. Hope you can make a lot of the net. And just a quick recap of things we can do to either cure or prevent unexpected failures, either at home or, and more especially, in the portable ops, where often you have limited time. You may have traveled somewhere. It's a special event you're there for, and the idea is to keep operating, or get operating as soon as possible, keep operating as long as you can to fulfill whatever the mission or assignment is. And of course, to me, one of the most important things is plan. Just try to plan ahead. And that brings up the power of lists. Make lists as part of your planning. And then you've got your list of all the stuff you're probably going to need after you set your plan. Go ahead and test it. Try to set it up. Test ahead of time. If you can test in the location you're going to be operating in, you may find surprises of like the group that Dion mentioned, where the net control was not in a good line of sight with the station to reach. And of course, always have faith. 1-8 2-1. Where is a very important thing. Many things we have for. Finally, troubleshooting. To me, I always start imagining the worst case scenario instead of trying the simple things first. And to me, that brings up simple things, basic troubleshooting things is try the wiggle test. You may find that your failure is simply a loose connector, antenna, power, whatever. Mike brought up, always check your jumper. So the wiggle test, very important. So thanks everybody for this evening, and hopefully we all learned a little bit, and maybe it will help us correct an issue when we encounter them in the field. So again, a spare antenna saved me, but it could have just as well been some other piece of equipment that failed. Anyway, 7-3 to everybody. Thanks for staying for that. This is AN6 next controls, and the net is now closed. The computers is done in normal operation.